Language and the brain. Nation. The particular location in the brain might be specialized for language function that back and less in heighten the 19th country. Methods for gathering data have included the following: correlation of location of brain damage with pattern of loss or recovery in cases where languages are affected differentially, procession of stimuli from different languages to the right versus the left visual or auditory fails to investigate which side of the brain is most involved in processing its language. What is present to the right files will be processed faster and more accurately by the left hemisphere and vice versa, mapping the brain surface during sugar by using electrical stimulation at present point and recording which areas are involved in which aspect of speech and in which language. This mapping product is often as prior to or even during removal of brain tissue because of a tumor or other abnormality, allowing the neurosurgeon to avoid disrupting language function as much as possible. Positron emission tomography, PET scans, and other non-invasive imaging techniques that allow the right observation of areas of the brain that are activated by different language stimuli and text.
B. Learning processes information processing. A process based on IP is concurrent with the mental processes involved in language learning and use. These include perception and the input of new information, the formation, organization, and regulation of internal, mental, representation, and retrieval and output strategies. The information processing approach makes a number of assumptions. 1. Second, language learning is the acquisition of complex cognitive skills. In this respect, language learning is like the acquisition of other complex skills. 2. Complex skills can be reduced to sets of simpler component skills, which are hierarchically organized. Lower order component skills are prerequisites to learning of higher order skills. 3. Learning of a skill initially demands learner's attention, and this involves controlled processing. 4. Controlled processing requires considerable mental space of attention effort. 5. Humans are limited capacity processors. They can attend to a limited number of controlled processing demands at one time. 6. Learners go from controlled to automatic processing with practice. Automatic processing requires less mental space and attentional effort. 7. Learning essentially involves development from controlled to automatic processing of component skills, freeing learners' controlled processing capacity for new information and higher order skills. Learning processes the psychology of second language acquisition. 8. Along with development from controlled to automatic processing, Learning also essentially involves restructuring, restructuring of recognizing of mental representation. 9. Recognizing mental representation as part of learning makes structures more coordinated, integrated, and efficient, including a faster response time when they are activated. 10. In SLA, restructuring of internal L2 presentation, along with larger storage in memory, accounts for increasing levels of L2 proficiency.
Difference in learner. We considered the basic question of why some L2 learners are more successful than others from a linguistic perspective, and in Chapter 5, we will again consider this question from the perspective of the social context of learning. Here we address this question from a psychological perspective, focusing on difference among learners themselves. Different in learner, the psychology of second language acquisition. The different we explore here are age, sex, aptitude, motivation, cognitive style, personality, and learning strategies. Some of the relevant research look at the neurological representation and organization, such as the research report above in the section on language and the brain. Some is of an experimental nature, which manipulates variables and makes direct claims about cause and effect, and some relies on good language learner study, which deal with correlation between specific traits and successful SLA. Some of this research remain quite speculative.
The effects of multilingualism. Research Science the 1916 has largely supported claims that multilingualism has positive effects on intellectual function based on measures of conceptual development, creativity, metalinguistic awareness, semantic development, and analytic skills. DS 1985-18. The following list is a summary of positive findings. Diaz and Klinkler 1991. 184 bilingual children show consistent advantages in text of both verbal and nonverbal abilities. Bilingual children show advanced metalinguistic abilities, especially manifested in their control of language processing. Cognitive and metalinguistic advantages appear in bilingual situations that involved systematic use of the two languages, such as simultaneous executions, setting, or bilingual education. The cognitive effects of bilingualism appear relatively early in the process of becoming bilingual and do not require high levels of bilingual proficiency, nor the achievement of balanced bilingualism. Bilingual children have advantages in the use of language for verbal mediation, as shown by their higher frequency of private speech utterances and their larger number of private speech functions.
Jangan lupa like, comment, share, and subscribe channel Stasiun Bahasa dan Budaya P2B UIN Mataram.